to my YouTube channel and welcome to the first video of 2021. It only felt right to do a faith-based video. If you guys are new here, I hope that you hit the subscribe button to join the Happy Soul Tribe. I post all kinds of videos, mostly lifestyle and faith-based videos, just sharing how I incorporate my faith into my life and how to live a happier, healthier life all around. I plan on doing some more like New Year focused videos in the next coming weeks. But this video specifically, I just wanted to focus on like my intent this year with my faith and something that I've been really thinking about and that God's been putting on my heart for the last few weeks and few months as I've been like studying and learning more about Him. So we're going to be talking about Psalm 139 today, which I feel like I've probably posted a video about this chapter before just because it's a very talked about chapter in the Bible for a good reason. I mean, it's a very, very great chapter of the Bible and it's very encouraging, but I just have a new perspective on it this time around. So I do have some notes, but I'm not personally setting New Year's resolutions this year. I didn't last year either, and last year I think it kind of worked out that I didn't set any. I more so focus on setting new goals like every week or every month just because that's what works for me. And so when I was sitting down and thinking about this month and this year, I guess as a whole, what I wanted to focus on in my faith, what it really came down to is I want to focus on making my faith not about me. I don't want my faith to be so much about me and what I can get out of it and how I feel, and just basically I don't want it to be about me because it shouldn't be, and it's not about me. It's all about Christ. It's all about God, glorifying God and letting my life be a vessel for His use and making sure that my life is something that is glorifying Him, honoring Him, and just really taking myself out of the picture. And I've learned so much about how important that is and how we've kind of strayed away from that. That may not be the case for you. You may not feel like you've strayed away from that truth or like your church hasn't, but just from what I've seen in some of the churches that I have been like a part of or watched recently, I feel like it's very easy in today's society to make our faith all about me and us and I don't want that. And certainly God doesn't want that and never intended that from the beginning. I think I've mentioned it a few times, but I've been going through a book in my small group recently called Knowing God by J.I. Packer. It is the most challenging book I have ever read, which I haven't read that many books, but I did go to a Christian high school and I had to take like a theology class and stuff. So I've read a few, but it is so challenging, but in a good way, like truthfully challenging, you know, the intentions in your heart and lots of things that are biblically sound, but may not be what you want to hear, not what our itching ears want to hear. And it's uncomfortable, and it's given my husband and I so many different things to talk about and to work through as well in our faith. And we both have just like really learned and gained a lot from it. And so this is all kind of stemming from what I've learned from that book as well. But the reason I chose to talk about Psalm 139 is because it's a psalm talking completely about God's sovereignty and completely about His holiness, His glory, His majesty, His power over us, how He knows everything, nothing is hidden from Him. And when I actually grasp a hold of the idea of like how big God actually is, how wonderful, how wise, and how all-knowing He actually is, when I grasp that truth, it changes how I look at my faith completely. I don't want to just go into this year and think of Jesus and think of God as like my friend and my helper. Although He can be those things, He's so much more. And I think it's a dangerous place to be in when we forget that He is so much more than that. So If you have not read Psalm 139, you should pause the video and read through the whole thing, because I'm not going to read the whole thing verse by verse. I used to do that in some of my older videos, and I've had some issues with that. You can actually get copyright claims on that. Did you guys know that? I will read a couple of verses from it, and just for some more insight, this is the Bible I have linked in the description box. I get questions in every single video that I post. My other Bible is 10 years old. It's not available for purchase anymore, like the exact color and stuff. I know you guys want it. Everybody always comments that, but it's my Life Application NIV Study Bible. It's okay if you use a different translation than that. Totally fine. It starts off, David says, "You have searched me, Lord, and you know me. You know when I sit and you know when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You discern my going out and my lying down, and you are familiar with all of my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely. You hem me in behind and before, and you lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too lofty for me to attain." So this, he's referencing God's like all-knowingness. There's not a single aspect of you that goes unnoticed or is like a surprise to God or a secret to God. There's not a single sin that you have thought about doing, have already done, or are currently doing that God doesn't know about and see. There's not a single fear or flaw. There's nothing about you that is unknown to him. And that's a scary thought, because there's, no matter how close you are with a person, even your spouse, I feel like there's always going to be things that maybe people don't ever know about you. I love the part where he says, "Before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely." And so words that I have not yet even spoke, or things that I've thought about saying, he already heard them. He knows that I was going to think that. He knows that I was going to say that. And it just really reminds me how small I am and how silly it is when I think that I can hide things from him, or when I think that I can, sneak my way around, or put up a front with him. There's nothing about me that is hidden from him. He's all-knowing, and I think that that's both comforting but also very, very humbling. If I say, "Surely the darkness will hide me, and the light will become night around me, even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light to you. You created me in my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, and I know that full well. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them even came to be. How precious to me are your thoughts, God, and how vast is the sum of them." Every single chapter of my life and minute of my life, day of my life is already written out, and he already knows everything from the beginning to the end and everything in between, even though I do not. And I could never, no matter how many goals I set, no matter how many plans I make, I could never anticipate a single minute of my life. This whole chapter is just humbling, because it's reminding me how human I am and how small a human is in comparison to the God of the universe, and how little we know, how little we will ever know, no matter how much we try to learn, how little we have control over anything in our life. And that may sound scary to you, but to me it's humbling, but also encouraging to know, like, that control is not mine to have. And so when things feel out of control, not to say that it's not my responsibility, but knowing that, like, my responsibility is to go to the one who created everything. Instead of it being my responsibility to fix everything, it's so much more comforting to know that I'm simply responsible for always going back to the one who created all of it, and always relying on him, because I'm small. I'm very, very small in the grand scheme of things, and I want to remember that this year. And that may sound like a downer to you, but it's really not to me. Austin and I have been talking about this a lot lately, like, just really realizing that the entire sole purpose of your life is nothing other than to live it out for him, and to glorify him, and to learn more about him, and to grow closer to him. That's humbling. It's not like a depressing thought to me that I mean nothing. Like, my life is nothing. And I just really want to focus on that this year. And then down towards the bottom was just something else that I thought really stood out. And he says, if only you, God, would slay the wicked. Do I not hate those who hate you, Lord, and abhor those who are in rebellion against you? I have nothing but hatred for them. I count them my enemies. Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. And I know that whenever the Bible references hating, that people get like really standoffish, and I do too, because you are raised, if you're raised in church, you're told you should never hate anyone. And while it's true that we should love our neighbor, it's also so true that if you have the admiration and like fear of God in your heart that you are meant to have, and if you love God the way that you should, you'll naturally come to hate the things that stand against him. You won't hate people, but you'll hate anything that is evil and anything that is impure and anything that is not God honoring. You'll grow to hate those things, and that's a sign of like a mature faith in you. Be such a devoted Christ follower that you genuinely have hate in your heart for anything that stands against him. Is an important thing, but I could make a whole other video on the approach, because there's a different way to approach it, okay? Hating a sin and hating evil is way different than treating people like garbage just because they don't agree with you. I don't agree with that, okay? We're not talking about that. That could be a whole other video. So, all that to say that my goal for 2021 is to make my life be completely about remembering how small I am and staying very humble in my faith, and not making it about me and how I can feel after I spend time with God, because I want to spend time with God because he is the creator of everything in my life, the creator of every aspect of me. I want to know more about him, and I want to know him closely so that I can navigate this life. I don't want it to be about how I can boost my morale after spending time with him. I want to leave my quiet time sessions feeling convicted and feeling uncomfortable and growing, because if you're growing, you're going to be uncomfortable. So I wrote down like this little prayer for myself that I think maybe would be encouraging to you guys this year, especially. I feel like this is gonna ring very true for me because I'm becoming a mom this year. Well, I'm already a mom, but like, you know, gonna have a human to take care of. And I feel like motherhood is going to be the perfect vessel to teach me this lesson. So I'll read you guys this little prayer, and hopefully it'll be a prayer for you for this year. You can write it down if you want to. But I said, in 2021, I want my life to be about teaching me how small I am and how big you are. Let me never forget that my life is not mine to have, and it has very little and nothing to do with me. Remind me of your sovereignty and your glory daily. You created this world and everything in it to serve, honor, and glorify you. Help me to remember this daily. Help me to remove selfishness from my heart and replace it with an eagerness to serve, love, give, and honor you and others with every aspect of my life. It's just a short, simple, and sweet prayer, but that's my intention going into this year, and I honestly have no other goals. But I wanted to have an intention this year, and I want that to be the intention, is to just really like take away anything that focuses it on me and makes it about me, and turn it around and focus it on him, because I feel like I've kind of lost sight of that in my faith. And it's really easy to fall into, like, I guess you could call it prosperity gospel, and learning how becoming a Christian is promising us a life of abundance and all of this, that which is great and it is true. But abundance doesn't look like abundance in the way that we think it does. Abundance means your life being about Christ and not about you. And that could mean losing everything. That could mean a lot of suffering. But It is abundance still, and it is joy still. If you found this video helpful, please make sure to give it a thumbs up because it tells YouTube to let this video be seen by other people. And leave a comment down below what your New Year 2021 like resolution in your faith is, or goal if you have one. And make sure you go out of your way today to love on someone, make them feel extra special just because they are. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye guys.